country music. Before heading to Nashville, this 80s lady had a successful career as a chorus girl on the New York stage, appearing in hits like Promises, Promises, Hello Dolly, and West Side Story. But Broadway's loss was Music City's gain, and country music was introduced to one of its most outspoken stars.
T Oslin came to Nashville in the 1980s, picked up a microphone, and found her true calling. But she wasn't the typical wannabe starlet. She broke all the stereotypes and then some.
T Oslin is the only 45-year-old woman who's come to Nashville, made a record, and it's been a smash.
KT really just kind of blew it all up. You knew that the rules didn't have to apply because she broke every dang one of them.
I think KT Oslin was a success because of KT Oslin. She just has, I can't say the word, but she's got them. I'll always come back, baby, to you. I'll always run back, straight to you.
KT's debut album touched a nerve with millions of her fellow 80s ladies. She sang candidly about issues that have plagued us for years. The fear of losing our sex appeal, the heartbreak of divorce, and finding love after 40. Issues that spoke to both women and men.
I always thought she could have been I'm going to say this, she could have been a great white Oprah.
Won't you tell me tomorrow be brighter?
We're all vulnerable, but it's how we carry it. And one of the things that I love about her the most is she shows her vulnerability, but she carries a big stick about it.
I'm going on a diet, just like sugar, honey. Come next Monday, I'm gonna give up on you.
She knew that she was sexy, and she knew that she could, look in the camera and lift that eyebrow like she did and kind of.
KT was every 40-something woman who ever struggled with self-doubt, and her message was heard loud and clear.
I mean, she was hot stuff, and she knew it, and she was 20 pounds heavier than a supermodel, and she was maybe 20 years older than some of the little supermodels, but that's why people got it, because they thought that she was their voice.
Oh, Lucinda Williams.
Lucinda Williams is a perfect example of an Americana artist in that her music is somehow ineffably country and yet is on the edge of the envelope.
In 2001, Time magazine called her the best songwriter in America, bar none.
She's an important artist. She's like the anti-Shania. And I love Shania too, don't get me wrong, but there's got to be a place for everything.
Passionate kisses, whoa.
She raised the standard in general, I think, just for songwriting.
Yes, you know you got to get right with God.
I lost a Grammy to Lucinda Williams, which I was so proud to do.
She's another one that is completely widening the scope of what country music is. And yet, she's quite a traditionalist.
Why'd you let go of your guitar? Why'd you ever let go that far? Drunk in an angel.
The daughter of a poet, Lucinda Williams has taken her love for words and music and melded them in a way never heard before. With 3 Grammy Awards and a spot as alternative country's poster child, Lucinda isn't called just a singer or a songwriter, but an artist.
Lucinda, I believe, would say an artist is someone who makes you feel in whatever way she wants to make you feel.
She has a knack for setting conversations to music.
She makes music the way she wants to and sings country the way she hears it. And people are paying attention.
Lucinda's so passionate and so vulnerable in her passion. She really moves me. She constantly surprises me.
And I would say Lucinda
is one of those artists where when you're lost, you can say to yourself, what would Lucinda do? And if you could figure out what she would do, you'd be close to having the right instinct.
She's an international road warrior with a groundbreaking career that spanned half a century. In the 50s, she hit the top of the Japanese charts with an explosive burner called Fujiyama Mama. By 1966, she'd knocked the Beatles out of the German charts with the song Santo Domingo. But here in America, she's mostly known as the nice girl with a nasty voice. And when she took the stage, it was always party time.
Well, a hard-headed woman, a soft-hearted man, been causing trouble ever since. She could rock with the baddest of the bad.
With Wanda Jackson, it's like, you know, getting in a 58 Pontiac and convertible and taking the top down and letting it roll.
With her tight-fitting dress, shimmying silk fringe, bewitching good looks, and wild, sexy voice, Wanda Jackson definitely put the rock in rockabilly music.
And she was one of the first rockin' women I had ever seen.
Those records are so terrifically ferocious. I mean, she's not just singing, she's growling.
While she was a high school student in Los Angeles, California, Wanda had her first hit record. As soon as she graduated in 1955, she went on tour with Elvis Presley, and in no time she became his protege and briefly his girlfriend.
Some people like to rock, some people like to roll, but moving and a grooving's gonna satisfy my soul. Let's have a party.
Well, Elvis says, you know, you really need to be singing this rock and roll stuff. And so Wanda did, and it was just like, bang, there it was.
Well, Wanda could communicate a lot of sex appeal just by standing in one place and moving with the fringe dress that she had on.
Wasn't afraid to shimmy it, shake it. She was all right, that Wanda Jackson.
Wanda embraced a more conventional country sound in the 1960s.
I never kissed a bear, never kissed a goon. Everybody shake it in the middle of the room. Let's have a party.
But her voice never lost its edgy attitude.
And just as much as she could rock, she could also get very gentle and do a great ballad.
So if you want another round, just order one. 'Cause I don't think a girl's got a drink to have fun.
When you talk about female rock and roll singing, in my mind, you start with Wanda Jackson.
Lo-dee, lo-die, we're happy, my pal and I.
She never intended to be a country and western star.
Lo-die, we're happy, my pal and I.
She started as a pure pop singer and sang with big bands and sang on the radio as a pop singer, broke into movies as a pop singer, came to western music kind of late in her career, really, but she certainly has embodied it, wrote Happy Trails to You.
But with her fringed skirts and rhinestone-studded outfits, Dale Evans rode right into the hearts of a generation. With the advent of television, she was the personification of everything country and western for millions of children and adults alike.
I just loved that she was this classy cowgirl with all this makeup and all this hair. You know, it's like she loved looking great. And who says a cowgirl can't look good?
She certainly embodied the western heroine who was sassy and saucy and great on a horse and as spunky as Roy, if not more so.
Relax, slugger. What a guy.
She made it cool to be a cowgirl. Boys all got to play cap guns and cowboys, and Dale's image allowed the girls to take part in that western fantasy as well.
All of us travel much too fast.
Dale Evans was the queen of the West, and of course, I was jealous because she had Roy and I didn't.
Dale Evans gave young women everywhere an image they could look up to, a loving relationship they could aspire towards, and the comforting message that happy trails await you, no matter who you are.
I ride through the slumbering shadows along the Navajo Trail.
Dale Evans. The Queen of the West. Well, there you have it. Dale Evans. You don't have to say anything else.
We want to thank you and all of our guests for a wonderful visit.
Happy trails.